learns her punishment. We'll also see you on the CW because you're talking about another shooting on US 54. The victim is clinging to life. The gunman remains on the loose. What police say caused the man to open fire. And it's lights out on a massive solar energy project. Fort Bliss and El Paso had teamed up, but the project has now been short-circuited. And some children will go back to school in style. Nicole?
Rain chances go up this weekend. I'll let you know your best shot at seeing showers and thunderstorms. That's all coming up in Storm Track Weather.
That's all next on ABC 7 at 9. Get ready. You become part of the day's news right now.
Live, where news comes first. From the Mesilla Valley and Las Cruces to El Paso and the borderland. This is ABC 7 at 9 on the El Paso Las Cruces CW.
I am going to be the greatest jobs president that God ever created. I will tell you that.
Thousands of people came to see Donald Trump in Alabama. A pep rally, as he called it, was held at a football stadium. Your voice, your vote is coming up in just a bit. Wow. Hello, everyone. This is ABC 7 at 9 on the CW. I'm Rick Cabrera in for Bob Harp. And I have all the stories you're buzzing about tonight on social media.
And I'm Nicole Gomez. I'm tracking what you're saying on social media. I'm also tracking showers and storms on Doppler radar. But coming up in just a few minutes, we're going to check on those current conditions. We'll take a look at Doppler radar because, as I mentioned, those storms are popping up. But those details coming up in just a bit. Rick?
Sounds good, Nicole. Thank you. 13 years in state prison. That's the sentence a jury handed down to a mother found guilty in the death of her 2-month-old baby boy. Police say 21-year-old Lindsay Raddick's son was found dead, strapped to a car seat upside down, covered with pillows. Police say she and the father of the baby were high on cocaine the night of the boy's death. ABC 7's Jerry Nakata was at the sentencing. He's live with that story. Jerry?
Rick, it took the jury 3.5 hours to decide Raddick's sentence. This after hearing the defense's closing arguments. The defense telling the jury to have mercy on Raddick, saying she has been sober 3 years and has a 19-month-old child to raise. They recommended probation. Before the sentence was handed down, Raddick came out into the courtroom in shackles and crying. When the sentence of 13 years was read, both Raddick and her mother began crying uncontrollably. Raddick was allowed to say goodbye to her mother and father. It was definitely an emotional moment for the family. An interesting note, the father of the baby pleaded guilty to a higher charge of injury to a child knowingly and intently. He was sentenced to 8 years in jail. Raddick pleaded not guilty, was indicted with a lesser charge of reckless injury to a child, and she will now serve 13 years. Rick.
You saw the mugshot there for Bobby Soto, the boy's father. Thank you very much. Police say a case of road rage got out of hand last night and resulted in a near-deadly shooting. The gunfire happened last night just before 10 on US 54 near Hondo Pass. This is the second shooting on US 54 in the past 2 weeks. Police say they don't think it's gang violence, and more than likely the two men did not know each other. Police say the drivers were flashing obscene gestures at each other and began to argue after they pulled over. Then one man who pulled out a gun, he shot the other several times. The 20-year-old victim had 2 passengers in his car and was driven to Beaumont Army Medical Center, where he is now listed in critical condition. Police say the attacker is described as a black man in his late 20s and is still on the loose.
There's cause for concern with that. I mean, this person's out there in our community currently, and he's responsible for this.
Police are looking for a gray or silver Honda. Police also believe there may have been a female passenger in the car with the gunman. If you have any information, call Crime Stoppers. The number is there on your screen. It's 566-TIPS. That's 566-8477. Police arrested 2 men on post at Fort Bliss in connection with the shooting downtown. Fort Bliss police arrested Devian Lee Hall and Deshaun Provoid, both 20 years old, yesterday morning. They're accused of shooting and beating 2 men shortly after 2 last Saturday on the 100 block of Anthony Street in the Union Plaza Entertainment District. Police say the incident started when an argument escalated between 2 groups. One man was shot in the face and another was struck in the head with the shotgun. The 2 men are charged with criminal attempted murder and aggravated assault with a deadly weapon. The victims were not seriously injured. The Doña Ana County Sheriff's Office is investigating a series of drive-by shootings it believes are all connected. The first one happened just before midnight Thursday near the intersection of Moongate and Corona Road. This is northeast of Las Cruces. Deputies say a 19 and 20-year-old man told detectives they were chased by an unknown vehicle and heard gunshots as the two were driving home. Deputies were called to the same area a few hours later and again this afternoon. Detectives believe there is a connection between the shooters and the alleged targets. If you know anything, the sheriff's office wants to hear from you. You can call them at the number on your screen, 575-525-8884, or call Crime Stoppers at 1-800-222-TIPS. ABC-7 and text out with live traffic coverage tonight. There you see I-10 and Reynolds on the east side of town. Lots of cars on the roadways on this Friday evening, but nothing to report. Storm track weather now. Nicole Gomez joins us now with your first forecast. I saw a lot of lightning off on the horizon around downtown on my way back from dinner tonight, Nicole.
Oh, yes. That's where most of the storms are headed, towards the south currently, but a nice little lightning show out there. Let's take a look at Doppler radar and track some of these storms. Nothing yet here in El Paso or Las Cruces, but it looks like we could possibly see some light rain as we throw in a tracker on one of these cells that's, again, looking like it's headed towards Las Cruces. But as far as El Paso, as you can see, we're still dry. Here's that cell that I was just talking about. As we throw the tracker on and zoom in just a little closer, you can see around 1034 we could possibly see light rain headed towards Las Cruces. Of course, if this cell continues to hold together. But these storms are moving towards the west, but notice to the south. Those are the storms we were just talking about. So if you've been outdoors, you got a nice lightning show there. Now, currently our temperature is 91 in El Paso, 86 Las Cruces. We're at 79 TRC, 86 Alamogordo. And again, most of the moisture is well to our south, out to our west. So we're not going to completely rule the chance of seeing showers out of the forecast for tonight. 89 degrees outside the studio. We're at 89. Montonwood High School and Valley View Middle School were also sitting in the 80s. Winds not too bad, a little breezy in El Paso, stronger in Las Cruces at 16 miles per hour, but the winds will be stronger tomorrow. Rain chances will go up. Those details coming up in just a bit. Rick?
Nicole, thank you. Donald Trump took his campaign for the White House down to Dixie tonight. The Republican frontrunner was in Alabama for a rally that may have been his biggest yet. Trump's surprise success continues to defy political pundits and confound his opponents for the GOP nomination. Yes, they're saying it was another Trump triumph. Donald Trump gave his Republican rivals a fresh lesson in leading the pack, drawing thousands of cheering supporters to Mobile, Alabama. So many they had to move this rally to a football stadium. Trump gave them what they came to hear: tough talk on illegal immigration.
A woman, 66 years old, a veteran, raped, sodomized, tortured, and killed by an illegal immigrant. I'd like to have the election tomorrow. I don't want to wait.
Tonight, Donald Trump again stole the show from his GOP rivals. The campaign trail is looking like a long, hard road ahead. And we're still more than a year away from Election Day. After a pair of church bombings, there's no doubt security concerns are top of mind in Las Cruces, everywhere from places of worship to schools and colleges like NMSU. And with thousands of students back in class, the campus has beefed up security. ABC-7's Josie Ortegon spoke to campus police. She followed this story from our New Mexico Mobile Newsroom.
About 29,000 people are on campus during the semester. Officers are on high alert. Given the nature of the recent explosions, anything like this bag here can be considered suspicious. But officers say you can never be too prepared.
They've been reporting backpacks and similar items that have been left unattended, and officers have been dispatched to check out every single one of those.
All hands on deck. School has only been in session for a couple of days, but students are just as vigilant as police hoped they'd be. Campus security cameras don't capture every single thing that happens in every corner. That's why police say they need eyes everywhere. The department's 20 officers are patrolling 5 square miles on the main campus, and its 3 bomb teams are roaming the streets at all times. With football season around the corner, there's even more room for concern. That's why for the first time in a decade and a half, officers will conduct bag searches. They hope this will prevent any scares.
The concern that we've had for safety on campus certainly picked up over this summer, and that's one of the reasons why our officers are so heavily engaged with the federal and local agencies on the church bombing investigations, because we realize it's just a street away.
And again, Chief Lopez adds all bags will be searched before all football games. The specifics will be provided closer to game day. In Las Cruces with our New Mexico Mobile Newsroom, Josie Ortagon, ABC-7.
It's considered one of the oldest parts of Las Cruces, but plans to bring it back to life are in the works. We're talking about Amador Avenue. The plan to redevelop the old neighborhood, including West Amador near Valley Drive. Here's a look at the blueprint for what's being called Amador Próximo. City officials gave the okay in a meeting earlier this week. Councilor Nathan Small, who represents the area, met with business owners and residents to draft the plan. The goal is to bring in additional housing, industrial businesses, and parks to the rundown area. The city will invest in infrastructure and offer incentives to prospective businesses by waiving permit fees and expediting the permit process. Councilor Small says that'll help lure businesses, but others aren't so sure.
There's so many empty businesses in town and so many empty houses in town. It just makes me wonder, how are they going to bring anything in here?
Anyone who passes by the area sees great big empty lots. There was such an industrial, kind of agricultural heritage to the area, but many of those businesses, or at least the vast majority of the uses for those land, have moved on. So we see vast empty lots.
There is no set timeline for the project. Small says he sees it coming together along with the Valley Drive reconstruction, which is set to be completed by 2017. The Planning and Zoning Commission is set to review and approve the plan next week. It'll go back to council for the final okay next month. El Paso Electric announced today it is no longer moving forward with a nearly $50 million solar power project on Fort Bliss. The project was a 20-megawatt facility that would have been located on 218 acres at Fort Bliss. The facility would have provided renewable energy for 8,000 homes with solar panels that track the sun's movement throughout the day. El Paso Electric says the original plan was for the Army to provide an easement to house the solar panels at no cost, but later came back asking for more than $260,000 per year with a total 30-year cost of just under $8 million.
We realized the Army had a requirement that we felt like just in the future could present some risk that we just couldn't afford to take.
Although this project is no longer going forward, we look forward to continued work with businesses and local partners in the future.
Fort Bliss says the negotiation was handled by the Army's Office of Energy Initiatives. Our request for an explanation from that office remains unanswered. Tomorrow is the big day for the El Paso ISD. El Paso ISD residents will go to the polls for the penny swap election. Officials say it would move 3 cents from the portion of the tax rate that pays for debt service and move it into the portion of the tax rate that pays for day-to-day operations. The district is promising voters the swap will have zero impact on the overall tax rate, which would remain at $1.23.5 per $100 of home valuation. If approved, EPISD would be able to access an additional $9 million in matching state funds. District Superintendent Juan Cabrera told ABC-7 the revenue will help the district fund priorities like the expansion of enrichment programs, new classroom technology, new school buses, and better pay for teachers. At the Socorro ISD, the board approved a $407 million budget for the 2015-2016 school year. The budget increases employee salary by 1.5%, but this won't increase the tax rate for SISD residents. The rate will remain at $1.27 per $100 of a home's valuation. Some soldiers are returning home after 9 months. This is a picture of the Fort Bliss's 501st Aviation Regiment, the Pistoleros. For nearly a year, these men and women conducted missions in Iraq in support of Operation Inherent Resolve. They conducted attack and medical evacuations. Fort Bliss has called this tour successful. Mission ended with a transfer of authority ceremony last week at Camp Taji in Iraq. From everyone at ABC-7, we'd like to say thank you for your service and welcome home. Pennies for tennies. 52 kids from La Posada shelter received brand new sneakers and supplies just before the start of the school year. DEA agents in El Paso teamed up with Academy Sports and Sprouts to put on the event. The kids were able to enjoy the day with a pizza party at the El Paso Federal Justice Building.
Yeah, it's wonderful. Of course, we're just getting started, so just to see them, you know, the excitement, and we got some help from the Border Patrol as well to come in with their robot. So I think it'll be a fun afternoon for the kids.
It's really special kids at the La Posada shelter. I've met with some of them before. Organizers told us this is the first year of the event, but they do something new and different for the kids every year. Connect with us by using the name CU on the CW on the big 3 social media apps. You can also join the discussion at the KVIA.com Facebook page or at ABC-7 Breaking on Twitter. Still to come, a special day for a group of girls. See how the community is recognizing them for their work in the community and leadership. This fight will be over in 10 seconds. Louis is talking about Ronda Rousey's next fight. An opponent for the champ has been chosen. Nicole?
Well, the winds kick up tomorrow and our rain chances increase. What does that mean for your weekend? We'll take a look at your weekend forecast and storm track weather after the break.
This is ABC 7 at 9 on the CW, where you don't just watch the news, you are part of the story.